Does that say Sparks? As in,
yes, it does. Yes,
as in the band.
Sparks. Yeah, as in Sparks.
Sparks. Yes.
Yes.
They're brothers, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
And they're still playing. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing. I mean, I've been a fan since 1974.
Beat the Clock was one of the very first 7-inch singles I bought. See, I've been a fan for quite a long time.
But not as long as I have.
No. Did you get my message about Obscure Alternatives? Man,
I did, yeah.
That has aged pretty well, I have to say.
You think?
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to ask you about the riffs. So when Sylvian came in with the song, was it just chords mostly? Yeah. So always. The riffs are yours. Okay.
Always.
Yeah, they're killer riffs. Obscure Alternatives, again, an amazing album. And the last track, The Tenant, it almost foreshadows what's to come in Quiet Life. Was that intentional?
I mean, it was, in a way, I suppose you could say it was.
Yeah.
Because it echoes more the stuff we were listening to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, but only in that way. I mean, there was no specific, okay, this is going to be where we're going. I mean, it's a slow instrumental, piano piece, really.
Yes.
With stuff on it.
Was that always destined to be on the album, or was that a last-minute addition?
It's a long time ago,
Yeah.
I think it was to replace. We were at the time we were playing a Stones cover.
Oh wow!
Heartbreaker.
Okay.
We played it live all the time, and so that was supposed to go on the album. But I think we ditched it. We never even recorded it in the end. So I guess we had one track less than we should have done.
Okay. I know it's a long time ago, but I mean, I've got a terrible memory. You've got a way better memory than I have.
You think?
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to recall, I'm trying to put together a video about my old band, Tragic Venus, and my friend Mark, who played with us live, he can remember the exact dates and the exact venues we played at, and I can't. So, yeah.
Yeah.
You got a good memory. So the covers, that was that coming from Simon Napier Bell? Was that his idea to do covers? No.
Nothing about the band was Simon Napier Bell's idea.
Apart from The Most Beautiful Man in the World.
I mean, promotion shit.
Yeah.
Actually, that wasn't him either.
Oh, really?
That was Connie, our PR person.
Connie. Okay.
Our PR person.
Yeah, Connie, she did, she's on Dance, isn't she?
Yes.
Yeah, she's on Dance. Wow. Okay, we'll get into that maybe. We are going to get into Gary Numan because three of you
are there.
Have played with, collaborated with Numan.
Yeah.
Hello,
guys. Hello, Rob. Hello, Phil. Sorry I'm a little bit late. I've been recording.
It's okay.
I've literally just got back.
You're not the last one.
No, we're waiting for two more. Yeah, they're a bit tardy.
Oh yeah, sorry. I've been working with Chris Hughes today from Tears for Fears, and I said, Chris, I've got to finish by 7 to get home.
Oh, brilliant! You should have brought him along.
I know. I should have done it from his studio, shouldn't I? He could have said hi.
Oh man, that would have been epic.
Well, I've got to go back tomorrow and pick the drums up. So I said, I'm leaving. He said, I'll see you tomorrow. So I legged it home as quickly as I could. And I've got a stinking cold as well. So apologies for that.
Oh, no, you sound fine. So formal introductions, Rob. So Robert Bryan has kindly said that I can call him Rob because two Roberts would get confusing. So Rob meet Robert, Robert meet Rob. Obviously, Robert's formerly of Japan, played with Sinead O'Connor. I've got some... I want to take him back, all the way back to Viva Beat and Illustrated Man. And of course, Sinead O'Connor is one of the highlights for me. And Rob, yeah, I know. You've looked at that fondly with pride in the episode 1. And Rob, you play drums with Siouxsie Sioux at the moment. Is that true?
At the moment, yeah.
And you've done that since 2007.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, the last gig we did was in 2013, and that was at Yoko Ono's Meltdown Festival in London.
Oh, wow.
And we did 2 nights there, and then she took a massive hiatus, and I went off to work with other artists and other things. And then last year, she decided to come back, so she picked some choice gigs.
Yeah.
And said, I'm just going to come back and I'm just going to do these lovely festivals, headline these festivals, do these few little things, see some family when I'm over there. It was all very, very okay for her. It was like a little traveling paid holiday for her.
Wow.
And we saddled up and off we went again. And she was a bit nervous about ticket sales, but they were selling out within minutes. So really, we could have done more. But anyway, but it's good to be back. And the fans are still there. And the critics were very fair. And yeah, it's good to be back because I haven't done that sort of hard playing gig for a while. I've been doing lots of other things, not punk drumming or new wave drumming,
Yeah. Wow, so many questions that come to mind. So we are of a similar age, I believe. Did you watch the Today Show when the Pistols appeared? And as a result of that, sorry, Robert?
Who didn't?
Well, yeah. And as a result of that, Bill Grundy got sacked the day after. Do you remember that? And of course, Siouxsie was in the.
She was there, yeah.
She was part of the.
Yeah.
They were egging. He was egging on Steve Jones, wasn't he, to swear, be a naughty boy.
Yeah,
that's right.
And he did what he was told, I guess.
He did, yeah.
I didn't think he needed his arm twisted, to be honest.
No, I think he was bladdered at that point, right?
Yeah, probably. I think they all were, weren't they?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
So, how is it filling someone else's shoes? As far as do you adapt the parts? Do you play them as they were on the record? How do you approach that?
Yeah, I mean that was one of the things that crossed my mind. Working with any artist, you have to respect that material. But because the drums are such a focus on those Banshee songs, I wanted to make sure I was not upsetting anyone, mostly Sue to start with, but also honouring Budgie, and Kenny as well, to be fair. But obviously Budgie was the main man with the main bulk of hits, and the Creatures and everything. He's synonymous with Sue. Yeah. So I wrote out the parts. My dad was a jazz drummer, so he taught me to write drum music and read music. So I penned them all out like a real keener, and I penned everything out. And I practiced it all and got it there, and I practiced it in my head as well as physically playing it. But then, of course, I had a curveball because they said, you're going to have to use the SPDS as well. And I was like, well, that's cool. I can trigger. They said, yeah, but you're going to have to turn things on and off, and there's no click track. You're the click track. So when I'm hitting pads to finish a loop, I'm hitting one the other side to start a click in my headphones. And then when I come back in, I've got to hit a cymbal and that pad and then get over there. It was a nightmare. So as well as learning the songs, I had to learn the electronics for it as well. And this time around, I said, I'm not doing that. I'm too old to be doing that. I haven't got enough arms anymore. I don't know how I did it last time. So, I'd go in and just play them as Budgie played them and as Kenny played them. And in the end, Siouxsie would turn around and say, look, give us a da-da boom, because the recording is a recording, but live, give it a dega boom in these little places. Don't be scared. Give it a little bit of life. But of course, I didn't go in there and try and play Spellbound in 7 or something. I respected the parts completely. Oh, hello, there's a cat.
Yes.
A Banshee fan.
This is Layla.
Hi, Layla.
She likes to check in when I'm talking. Whenever I'm talking, she comes and says, why aren't you talking to me?
So, well, maybe she thinks you are talking to her. Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
You should pepper your conversation with the odd meow.
Yeah.
Oh, so cute. That's so cute. So that's what happened. And, the fans didn't hate me for it. Every now and again, I'd look at the YouTube comments, sort of with, like this, thinking, oh, what they say about me. And most of the time it was all good because I respected it. I didn't come in like a session guy and try and chop all over it, which is a mistake that some people make. And our MD, Steve, said we've got to make sure that when we play with Sue, we don't just look like 4 guys up there that are clearly just session guys. We've got to make it look like we're into it. Not cheesily. There's a fine line to walk between as we all know, over egging the pudding and just doing the job. And thankfully, they took us under their wing and off we went. You always get 1 or 2 that say, oh, it's not the Banshees. But you're always going to get that. And my answer to that is she's happy. She's the boss. She's the band. There is no band. She's anymore. It's just Siouxsie. So, but yeah, it was tricky. And I had the manager wigging me out sometimes, saying things like, "You're going to do it like that, are you?" Totally messing with my head, completely messing with my head, And I'd run to the MD and he'd say, "He's messing with you. He's messing with you. Just leave it." But anyway, yeah, that's how I, And I'm still in employment, so it must be working.
That's right. Are you playing next year? Do you have gigs
planned? We're supposed to be recording an album.
Oh, fantastic.
A second solo effort. So they remastered Monterey this year, and they released that. But yeah, this is going to be a new album, new material. Fingers crossed, it's going to be the band playing on it, but you never know. It could be taken out of our hands. She's talking to different people like John Grant and various people to do co-writes. John Cale and all sorts of people are in the firing line. So we'll see. But that's the plan. Maybe some gigs later in the year. But I've just been employed by somebody else for the summer. So
have you?
Soon, yeah. Before they do. Whoops. Yeah, I'm out with Lorena McKinnett, which is a completely different gig. But yeah.
Wow.
I didn't even know she used drums.
Yeah.
I think she's kind of, new agey kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is. And I tell you what, after COVID, I was down to do the few tours after that. And you know what? She pulled the plug on it and she didn't use me. The 3 years before that she did. And I made an album with her down at Real World. And that's how I got the gig. But then she decided she didn't want me. So for 4 years, I was watching them go around the world, waving from afar. But this time I've got to fill my A1 form in. So the tour manager said, "Look, if you're filling that form in, you're definitely coming on tour." So this time we're going out from mid-June to August. But like you say, it's a very different gig, I got to play Darabuka, triangles, finger cymbals, mallets. It's lovely. It's a completely artistic gig compared to Sue's.
Yeah, that's kind of cool for a change. Yeah.
It is. I can use a bit more my dad's sort of jazz sensibilities in that, which is nice. Thinner sticks and just play very quietly. It's a trip. It's good. It's a nice gig.
What do I want to? You two have got something in common. Yes, Peter Gabriel.
Yeah.
So Robert, Viva Beat.
Well, I mean they were just discovered by Peter Gabriel,
right? Okay. And Rob.
And I wasn't involved then.
No. But interestingly, I found this out today. I did not know this. So you played on House is Burning, which was featured in a movie. It's both the audio and the video was featured in Body Double. So
yes, I'm actually in a movie.
Wow. So you got an IMDb credit.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I got 3.
It's a long time ago.
You're doing great.
That's great, man. I had a chance to do one and I didn't do it, stupidly. Anyway, there you go.
Yeah. I mean, it has a reputation, that movie. I'm not sure it's a good reputation, but it has a reputation.
Okay. And Rob, what's your connection to Peter Gabriel?
I got a phone call out of the blue one Sunday. I'll make it short as possible. One of my tenor sax player friends, Matt Sibley, rang me. And he said, "We've got a jazz session at Real World tomorrow. Do you want to do it?" And I said, "That's awfully last minute. Who's dropped out?" And they said, "Well, nobody. This is all very last minute. Do you want to do it?" And I said, "No, I'm only joking. Of course I'll do it. Who's on it?" And they said, "Anders and myself." I can't think he was on double bass now, but anyway. I said, "Great." So I ended up showing up and I was in my beaten up old escort, and I pull into the car park. It's my first time there. And I was like, this is going to be cool. Who am I working with? Go into the office. And I said, "I'm here to do a jazz session." I said, "I've got no idea who with apart from my mate." She said, oh, that's with Peter. No worries. Where are you parked? And I didn't really clock any of it. And I said, just out there. I said, "Sorry, it's that next to those nice BMWs. That's my terrible beaten up Ford Escort. I'm sorry." And they said, "Well," I said, "I'll get the gear." And they said, No, go and have a coffee. And they showed me, "We'll get your gear." So all of a sudden, they're taking my gear up to his private, I can't think what he calls it now, but he's got his own private studio in the woods. And again, I didn't think nothing of it. And I'm setting up my kit, and all of a sudden he comes in. It was in July, so it's very, very hot. And it's just when he started getting this longer beard thing going on, like Gandalf, this sort of vibe. And he was in like some sort of smock, and he came in, some like heavenly being, and I was like, "Hi, Peter. Wow, Peter, great to meet you." You know, and he said, "Great." He said, "I love sonor drums." He said, "We've got some here. Manu plays them sometimes." You know, and I said, "Great." And he wandered through, and I thought, "Wow, I've met him. That's brilliant." And we carry on setting up. Then the next minute, he's going into his vocal booth, and I'm thinking, what? So basically, what happened was he wanted to do 3 or 4 jazz standards for his parents' anniversary. It was 1990. Oh God, I don't know, 6, 7. So we were just doing some standards. I can't remember which one, because obviously I know all the albums, and I'm thinking of Manu's playing and David Rhodes, who I also did some work with. And anyway, and there I am playing ting, 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 and my jazz stuff and my brushes, and in my headphones is Peter Gabriel's voice singing these jazz tunes. And do you know what? I know he wouldn't sort of do a Rod Stewart and a Robbie Williams and make a big band record or a jazz record. That's not his bag. But you know what? He could really do it, because he's got such a beautiful voice, and he doesn't have to try very hard. He can just be himself. He doesn't have to croon. So that's what that was. And we all had a bootleg of it, and I've still got one somewhere. But that was it. But I've got to say, I went home that night and I rang, because there was no mobile phones. I was ringing all my friends. I had a few beers. I was really tipsy, telling all my friends I played with one of my heroes, and it was one of the greatest days. And they say you should never meet them sometimes. He was brilliant. He paid us all cash. He brought us our lunch up on you know, he really looked after us. He wasn't getting minions to do it. Do you know what I mean? He was just beautiful. And I've got a lovely memory of listening to playbacks, and I was stood at the back, and he was there too, and I was sort of just started to do this, you know, to the swing, and I was like doing this thing, and he started doing it with me. So we were sort of doing this thing, and it was just blowing my mind. Here I am, a Peter Gabriel doing this. Oh my God, you know, that was the connection. Never ever got released. There wasn't even a B-side or anything. It was just literally for his family, which I think is quite nice.
That was a lovely thing to do. But what a great memory.
Yeah. And I just rocked up thinking, I didn't know who it was going to be, and it happened to be him. So what a lovely thing, you know.
Yeah.
Nice memories.
Very
lovely. Yes. And since then you've been back, haven't you? To real world?
I was back. I've been back twice this year, 3 or 4 times last year, because I'm so close, you see. I mean, there's some great drummers in this area. We've got Clive Demo, who plays with Portishead, Radiohead, any band with head in the title, you know. There's Ian Matthews in Bristol, who does Kasabian. There's Scott Hammond, who plays with Jethro Tull. There's so many great players. So I'm lucky to still get my, you know, foot in the door, because we're all good in our own little ways, like we all are. We all specialize in little things. But, you know, my name's on the board, and if there's an engineer or a producer that knows me and I'm going to fit, then I get the call. So it's literally 15 minutes from my front door. So I can go down there and...
So where are you exactly?
I'm Chippenham.
Chippenham. Oh, okay.
Of all places, I know. I used to be Bath. I say to most people Bath, because people go, Chippenham, what the hell's that? Or Chippingham. And it's like, yeah, Bath, I say normally. But yes, I am from Bath originally, but we got through a divorce, all good, all unscathed. And I'm living in Chippenham now for a while. And it's close to the motorway. It's quite good, close to the studios. Suits me fine. But I do miss Bath, but it's too expensive in my present predicament.
Right. Well, probably anybody's predicament. I mean, yeah.
I'll get my violin out.
All the tourist places tend to be pretty damn expensive.
I can't do it.
Well, it's in the top 5, I think, of England all the time. Expensive places. And Frome now, believe it or not. Frome, of all places. Anyway, so yeah. So I do go down there a lot, and I know the staff there, and all the girls in the kitchen give me a big cuddle and stuff. It's really sweet. Oh, sorry, Peter was there.
Oh, it was.
And I said hello to him. He doesn't remember the session. Obviously, it was years ago. But we always have a little chat. And yeah, and Robert Plant popped in as well. It was one of those times where there was just loads of people on site. And you don't know who's going to come in next, you know. And we had lunch, and they said, "Oh, Robert's popping in, so he's just going to come and say hi." And I worked with him before, and I supported him in another band. But it's still amazing when you see him. It's like, that's a living legend walking in right there, looking around, you know. And it's just, in real world, anything can happen. And I never want to leave. It's, you know what it's like in a studio, lads. It's like you go in there and all your trouble, all your bills are still there when you come out. But when you're in there in your life or whatever, when you're in there, though, you're in this lovely vortex of creativity and love for your musicians. It's just wonderful. I love it.
Yeah, I do love being in a studio. Doesn't happen very often.
No,
we don't have any studios near me, I'm afraid.
Where are you? Robert,
I'm in
where are you?
Costa Rica.
Oh my goodness! Wow. Okay. Blimey.
I'm in the cloud forest in Costa Rica in Monteverde.
Rob thought you were going to say Hackney.
Hackney, no.
Where you're from, right? Hackney?
Yeah, I'm from Hackney.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, we don't have any studios where I live. In the capital in San Jose, they do. There's a few studios. They're actually not bad. They're not bad at all, really. But nothing around here at all.
Right. Okay. What a place to live, though. Beautiful. And do you do a lot of remote sessions from home and ship them back out and stuff? Or
I don't play much anymore. I really don't. I mean, for like the last 20 years, I've hardly played at all, really.
Wow.
I'm an illustrator now. I paint birds for field guides, for, like guidebooks.
Wow, that's beautiful, man.
That's what I do.
That's a great thing.
This is a great place. This is a great place to do it too, because there's lots of birds around.
Yeah, beautiful exotic birds out there.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. And you've got a nice poster of the Beatles up there, which is a very good thing. I've got John just poking his head out down here. I don't know. It's that David Bailey shot.
Oh yes, the Daily Bailey. Of the two of them, yeah. That's
right, yeah. It was up here, but I've moved it. But yeah, I'm a massive Beatles fan as well. And I've got the Yellow Submarine too that you've got there. Mine's over there. I'm a massive Beatles fan. Yeah, I know we're not here to talk about the Beatles, but I love them.
No, I mean, you can talk about the Beatles all day. When I was editing episode 1, I suddenly noticed that, Robert's got a Yellow Submarine on his bookshelf.
Yes, I do. Yeah. And I have a Thunderbird too, but you probably can't see it very well.
So I want to ask both of you, what stands out as the most memorable or unique live performance you've been part of, and what made it special for you? And I'll go to Robert first.
Which one? I can't remember who you called Robert. It's Robert. Robert's Robert, isn't it? I'm yes. Rob.
Yeah.
Right?
You're Rob. For the purposes of this, you're Rob.
It's getting late. Sorry, lads.
I think probably it has to be like the first time Japan played the Budokan.
Oh, yeah.
Because like in England, we were playing the Marquee Club, and then we go over to Japan for our first tour, and we sell out 2 nights at the Budokan. I mean, it's kind of weird.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That is. Do you remember the capacity?
I think it's 8,000. Maybe 10, I don't know, 8 or 10. But, full of screaming girls.
We're getting back to the Beatles, aren't we? Well, the Sunday Times
the Budokan.
The Sunday Times did call you the Beatles, didn't they? They compared you to the Beatles, the Sunday Times. Is that right?
I know. Yes, they did.
Yes.
Yeah,
I've watched that Old Grey Whistle Test clip so many times. I love it. It's an amazing performance where I think you're playing Swing and My New Career.
Yeah.
Rob, if you haven't seen it, I do recommend it. How about you, Rob? What performance really stands out for you?
Oh, that's a very good question. I mean, I'm staring at this poster on my wall. It's now I took the picture from the drum riser. I would say, oh God, after I've said this, I'm going to think of something else tonight when I'm in bed. I think I should have said that. But one that's really sticking out for many reasons was the one in Pasadena this year with Sue. Now, I know it seems rubbish that I'm picking one this year, but there is a good reason there's many reasons for that. But it was the one where she was headlining. And,
wasn't it like cancelled and like postponed? Yeah,
man, I'll tell you, we were half an hour to going on, and no, maybe 45 minutes because Iggy was still playing, and we'd seen some folk lightning, from our Winnebago. We're like, oh, look at that, that's cool, and we're like getting all psyched up, because it was the biggest gig of the tour, 30,000 people. It's like, come on, and we're headlining, you can have it. It was that sort of real kind of come on. And then all of a sudden, Iggy, it's like, and it's like, what's going on? And then people are running about, and it's like, oh, and we were the last to know. And it's basically, they've stopped Iggy. The police on site and the fire department have said it's off. And we said, oh, come on, they're probably just pulling our, yanking our chain. In a minute, they're going to say it's back on. And they're like, not in America. Once it's pulled, it's pulled. You got no chance. Again, it could be a very long story, but the bass player broke down into tears, because we were so psyched for this massive gig, and it was just a nightmare. And the manager said, "Look, just drink the stuff, have some fun, stay back here. We'll stay here for the night, just unless we get pushed off site." And then, of course, it was like over the PA, like you got to go home and all this. And they started bottling the stage, and people were shouting, and we were looking at the sort of the very silly little fences they have at these festivals, and thinking you need the National Guard out here to stop if they all. Anyway, thankfully they didn't get too rowdy, but it was a nightmare. So it was off, and then we were all going back home, and then about an hour later, our manager disappeared. Came back with the people that run the show and said, "Right, we're doing it tomorrow. We're going to come back tomorrow." I said, "How's that going to work?" He said, "Don't worry, that's not your problem. We're going to pay. We're going to give you an extra grand. We're going to pay you first class to get home. Da 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 da. We'll look after you all." So we're like, "Yes, brilliant. I'll take that." And they said, "Don't worry about the rest of it." But it turned out the fans could come back the next day and all that business. So it all kind of worked out. But we had no idea. It was on Sky News here. It was on CNN in America with a chopper going around with a camera. It was a real moment. And it was only when I got back here and met some of my mates at a gig the other day, they were like, "God, that's a rock and roll story." And also met Gary Numan for the first time there as well. I met Iggy. So there's various reasons why that stands out. But obviously, when we came back the next night, it was only Gary, Iggy. Iggy came back. Iggy was on his way back to New York. He spun round, paid all his bands, said, "You're coming back." And we all could do longer sets. So instead of us doing like a headline normal set we would do to finish, they said, "Do what you do at a theatre." So we played 2 hours and a bit. So the fans got even more money, songs for their buck, if you like. And it was just, it was just passionate. And oh man, it was just one of those feelings of like, we will not be beat. Dunkirk spirit. We're going to go out there and we're going to do it. And I have to tell you a true story. I got these flares made for me because I'm short, really. Short people shouldn't wear flares. Well, I'm 5'7", but I feel I'm short to the rest of the band members. But I wanted them just to come down just below the knee, and I was wearing these sort of Cuban heel Beetle boots, And I got them made for me. It wasn't very expensive, but I got them done. I was like, "Yeah, I feel really good in these." And again, people were saying, "You're on a drum kit. No one sees you." I said, "I know, but it's how I feel wearing them, right? It's the thing." Whereas you guys are at the front, and I know, the guys and the gals can see what you're wearing. For me, they just see this bit, which is fine. Anyway, I was on stage at the side of the stage. We were all there, and I was giving people big hugs. So, "Come on, we're going to do this." All the crew, I was like, "Come on, give me a hug and a kiss. Come on, this is going to be great." And I was I was being that guy to champion the troops. Sue was very nervous still, and I was like, "Come on, darling, it's going to be great." Da, da, da. Then I started doing star jumps at the side of the stage and some squats. Now, I went down with one of those squats and my trousers ripped from the crotch right to the back to my belt. It was just like, and I looked at the band members and they were all going, "Yeah, it's going to be great." I said, look, hang on. I said, "I've just ripped my trousers. Have I got time to go back?" And they said, "No, you're going to be sat on a drum stool." I said, "I can't possibly." And then they start playing the intro tape.
Wow.
And I looked at one of the drum tech and I said, "Have you got your torch?" And I said, "What can you see if I do that?" And he said, "I can see your pants." And I was like, "Oh." So in the end, and I told the band and they just all fell about. So in a way, it relieved us even more. The tension was gone. I was playing in front of 30,000 people with my ass hanging out, basically, of my trousers, which I didn't mind because it was a closed set from the side. Sue said, "I don't want anyone on stage." Then I look over and Gary's on stage with his wife. Iggy had come to have a little look. Shirley Manson, is it from Garbage, was there. And I'm thinking, all these people. Anyway, it was just funny. So there was that side of it too,
Wow. That's quite a Spinal Tap moment.
Yeah, it's a drummer thing. It's a drummer thing. Oh, it was funny, man. But yeah, it made everyone laugh.
All right. Well, I'm going to ask you one more question about playing live, and then we're going to get to some smash hits questions, which is my favorite part of the podcast. I stole this from Martin Ware, formerly of Human League,
Heaven 17,
and British Electric Foundation. And he's got a podcast, and he does these smash hits type questions at the end, which I thought was a fun idea. And I was going to ask Robert, I presume you've been in smash hits, right? And they asked you smash hits type questions. So this is like busman's holiday for you.
But, every time you're asked those sort of questions, the answer's different anyway, especially after like 40 years.
Yeah. And there were some extremely silly ones as well. Like, what do you keep in your fridge? Did you ever get beaten up at school? Which I thought was, oh, that's a bit near the knuckle. But we're gonna ask you some sensible ones. I found some sensible ones. But before we do that, I want to ask about dealing with mistakes on stage. So live performances aren't always perfect, as we know. Can you recall a moment when something unexpected happened on stage and you can't say your underpants getting ripped? I've already told that story. And how did you handle it in the moment to keep the show going smoothly? So, Rob, would you like to go first?
You.
Yeah,
me.
I guess with the electronic
sure?
side, the electronic side of the kit, did things?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes cymbal stands go zoom. Sometimes stools break, and you suddenly shoot down, and you're playing like this for a minute. You know, those kind of things. But yeah, it's worse. I mean, they're all funny, and you can laugh them off, or you go off the back of the riser. Though I've never done that, but I've seen people that have fallen off the riser. I think for me was when we were playing Ben Kassim, again, it's a Sioux story, and out all that electronics kicking off, my in-ears went down. So I'm hitting things and just pulling them out and just hearing it, because of course I'm on ears, I've got no monitors. So I'm just like feeling the rumble, and I'm looking at my tech. I'm like, trying to signal to him what's going on, you know, with head movements and pointing. And it was a nightmare. You know, and thankfully the one we were playing wasn't too heavy on the electronics, but the next one depended on it. We didn't have long to get it together. I just had to be very clever and listen and feel the rumble, and hopefully I'm in the right place, you know. And you think, this is all right, isn't it? No one's looking at me, you know. And people are going around my mixer, putting things in, the ones in. I'm thinking, yeah, at least I've got that now. And yeah, you always find a way through it. It's funny how, you know, you train for these moments, I suppose, by practicing with a metronome and being tight. And thankfully, those things pay off if you pay attention, which I always do. As I said earlier, I'm a bit of a keener. So I like to make the charts. I like to make things, you know, I like to know what I'm doing at all times and trying to think of any safety nets. But I wasn't quite ready for that one. But anyway, that's how I got through it, by just, you know, locking in and thinking, this is right. I haven't slowed down. This is where we're at. And but it was hairy.
I can imagine.
Like it.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was horrible, because she starts looking around like, "What's the matter with you?" It's like, how can you explain? She's going, "Come on, fucking hell, what are you doing, fuck?" And she's a bit like that when things go wrong. You know, she doesn't mess about. She goes, "What are you fucking doing? Fuck off!" and all that. And of course, the crowd are like, "Yay!" But you feel a bit of a lemon, you know, a bit of a idiot sat there, you know, or stood there. She's done it to all of us at some point, you know, when things haven't quite worked out.
Sounds like you need a bit of a thick skin then.
You do, because she apologizes the minute she gets off stage, but you know, I think she's the queen of punk, because she's seen as that, and she feels she has to keep a little bit of that persona up even in her 70s or whatever she is. She still feels 60s, sorry, mid 60s. She feels that she needs to still have a little bit of like bite, so people go, "Oh, she's still got it." Yeah.
That's understandable, yeah, and it's her vision too, right? So if something goes wrong, it's I'm sure she gets a bit irritated, but you're still
nobody else gets the, you know, nobody else gets the bad end, you know. I mean, it's her gig, so
yeah, exactly.
It reflects on her. We get it, and we go, it's fine. She's only sounding off because, yeah.
Robert, how about you? What's gone wrong?
Well, back to Japan again, in Japan. But the trouble was we couldn't really fix it. What happened was that my pedal board broke down. It literally stopped working. And without like all the delays and stuff that's in there, I can't function.
No.
And we literally had to like walk up. I didn't have a spare.
Oh.
Not my fault, you know, it's management fault, right? Didn't have a spare. We borrowed some of the support band's guitar gear, you know, which helped a bit, but we had to cut the set short because there were some things we simply couldn't do.
Wow.
You know, because Japan wasn't one of these bands where you know, it was all like different every night. It wasn't, you know, everything was like, this is the way we do this song, and you know, so we just had to play the songs that we could and get through it. But that was kind of it, really. I mean, yeah, that's really the only one I can think of that was really like, you know, something breaks down. I can think. I mean, you know, I can tell you about nightmare gigs, you know, supporting the Damned, you know, and Mick Karn getting a half brick in his head, and, you know, someone throwing lighted cigarette and it lands in my hair, and you know, and it starts burning and stuff. Because this was punk days, you know. I mean, in a way, we were lucky because when the Damned came on, they just got a rain of spit, you know, like literally. I mean, they were all wearing black, and by the time they came off, they were white.
Oh,
disgusting,
gross,
absolutely disgusting. But we didn't get that. But they literally booed us off, and we had to leave because they wanted to kill us.
You put me right off my dinner. I
was just thinking, what happens if it goes in Dave Vanian's mouth while he's singing?
Yeah, man, that's gross. Oh,
I'm sure it did, to be honest with you.
I bet it did.
Yeah. Well, you
and like the guitar was like hanging, you know, it's like hanging off the guitar. Like, disgusting.
Disgusting.
Well, the crowd was a bit rowdy with you when you supported Blue Oyster Cult, weren't they? They threw things at you.
No, they didn't throw things at me. Everybody says that they threw stuff. They didn't. They just booed.
Oh, they booed. Okay.
Yeah. God. They just booed.
They got no taste.
And we kept going, you know.
Okay. Good for you. Good for you.
Good. Go on.
All right. I know you've been looking forward to this part. The Smash Hits questions. I'll come up with some new ones when hopefully the five of us are all in the same virtual room. All right, number one, what's the best holiday you've been on? Let's go with Robert first.
All right, the Venezuelan tepuis.
Okay. All right.
Do you know what that is? The tepuis?
No.
Did you see Up?
I did.
Yeah.
Okay, you know the tabletop mountains in Venezuela with waterfalls and stuff.
Oh,
amazing place.
Oh man, wow. I thought you were going to say Margate, but okay. Rob, how about you?
Margate.
I have a soft spot for Margate too, to be honest. But,
well, I've got family there, so that's why that came to mind.
Good old Margate.
But how about Rob? What's your favourite holiday?
There's a few really, for various reasons. I think one that just jumps up right now is when I went to California. Actually, we went up the Big Sur and then up to San Francisco, and me and my girlfriend at the time had like 2 weeks there, and I did some stuff at DW's place because I got an endorsement with them, and I did a few things there. And after that had been done, I was on holiday and lots of driving through the mountains and staying in lovely log cabins and hot tubs outside, that kind of thing. That stands out as being something that was really quite special for me at the time for many reasons. And it was just beautiful. I'd never done any of that before. And I didn't realize how big. I mean, we've got forests and stuff here. Of course we have. And I'm aware of all that. But, they're the size of it. And I've been to Germany and whatever. But it was kind of like, this was just, I wasn't quite ready for how beautiful it with the waterfalls and everything. I just wasn't ready for it. And it just really chilled me out. It was beautiful.
Yeah. Obviously.
We should come to Latin America.
I'd love to. I mean, I've toured bits of it, but I've never actually travelled there. I've just played and then buggered off home again. I'd like to stay.
Well, Robert invited me, so I'm definitely going to make it one day. I'll come and see you, Robert.
There you go.
Will you let me play with your Thunderbirds, though?
That's a different kettle of fish. That's totally different.
All right. I do love talking of San Francisco. I have been, and I love it. Sort of place that I could really dig. All right,
played with Gary Numan there.
Did you?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
Did you play the What's Name Theatre? I can't think of what it's called.
I can't remember what we played, where we played, actually. You're thinking about the Wilton, are you? Is that no?
No, the other. Oh God,
I can't remember where we played. I'd have to Google it. It'll come up. But it wasn't big. It was like a large club, I think.
Oh yeah, a lot of those gigs were in clubs, weren't they? Because I heard you say somewhere.
The first gig was Perkins Palace in Pasadena, which was a theatre.
Yeah,
but yeah, a lot of them were clubs. Like we played at the Paradise in Boston. Yeah, I can't even remember them all now, but
wow.
Most of them were, and there were some that were like arenas that they had to like curtain off like half of the arena because not many people, they weren't anywhere near sold out, so they'd like make them smaller.
Oh, that's horrible. I've done something like that. That's really soul destroying. Oh,
yeah. And we played on a Mississippi riverboat going up the Mississippi.
Wow,
that was cool.
That's cool.
But that was actually a cool auditorium. It was a pretty large like dance hall basically, and that was a good gig. We played that with Wall of Voodoo was supporting us.
Brilliant.
But yeah, that was a good one. That was in New Orleans.
Awesome. Awesome.
That's a place. Yeah.
All right. I did ask you a similar question last time, Robert. I can guarantee you I didn't ask you this question. So what was the last book you read? Not your favorite book, but the last book you read.
I don't read very much anymore.
I don't think anyone does, do they?
No.
Not really.
I think the last book I read was the it was the Mark Hollis book.
Oh, really?
That was the last book I read, I think. What's it called? I've got it over there.
Oh, but yeah, what is it called? I want to get that.
Hold on.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I love Talk. Oh, man.
Oh, you'd have loved the first podcast with Phill and James.
I watched it, actually.
Oh,
I watched it. Yeah. Very interesting.
Perfect silence.
Okay.
Reading it backwards. A perfect silence.
No. It's reading correctly. Yeah.
It was.
I need to buy that.
It was interesting. You don't come away from it loving the man.
I've heard stories, which don't, in my mind, add up to the music. But like we said earlier, maybe you shouldn't meet your heroes or learn about them because you might be disappointed. Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting book. I think it's pretty well researched, considering none of the key players were interviewed for it. Oh.
Like none of Talk agreed to be interviewed for it, or
really.
Yeah. Any of them.
Phil's in the book,
people.
Right?
Phil's in the book, yeah. And
he still talks about it, doesn't he? But
he does.
Lee and Paul or whatever, they just don't want nothing to do with it. Yeah. They did nothing to do with that film that came out the other year that fan made. I really enjoyed that film, actually.
Did you? I thought it was terrible.
Did you not like it? I thought he did the best with what he had, which was nothing.
Well, I just thought, going up to people who just come off a ferry saying, what do you think of Talk? And they're like, who are Talk? What's Talk? I mean, that's kind of pointless to put that.
That was weird.
Yeah,
that was that. You're right. That was silly. I'd forgotten that bit. And talking to that guy on a bench. Or wherever they were. It was like, why would you do that? It was and then the bit.
And the bit. I mean, like Wilco was just talking about himself.
Yeah, that was bizarre, wasn't it? He was like, "Yeah, it's all about me." It's like, no, not really. It's answering the question, mate.
Yeah,
bless him.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought I was pretty disappointed with that movie. Really, I mean, yes, they had nothing to go.
Yeah,
with,
I mean, I think that the beginning bit is almost like a disclaimer when you see the people or the people involved, like the keyboard player, reading it, going, "Oh, well, that's going to be bloody hard for you then." And all these people going, "Is that what Mark said?" Oh my God. It's almost like you could stop here if you wanted to. because he tells you you're not going to find any facts or anything from the people. And I think they did that really early on, so people could go, stop, not interested. But I thought, you know what, I'm going to sit through it and see what's going on. Yeah, but it would have been lovely if it was more factual. Yeah, but nobody wants to talk about it. Like you said, no one wants to talk about it. It's almost like there's a secrecy. They just can't be, whether they can't be bothered, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, you just need to talk to Phill, and he'll tell you everything.
Yeah, he's a great. He's
got lots of info. And
definitely getting him back. Well, all three of you for the part 2 of that. It was amazing, absolutely amazing.
I enjoyed watching that, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Very informative. Yeah, very, very interesting.
Thank you.
You haven't asked him the same question.
Oh, what was that?
What was the last book you read?
Oh, yes.
Thanks, Robert. Keeping me in check. Well, you are the co-host now, unofficially. I mean, officially, if you want to. But go ahead.
Well, there's 2 that I haven't finished, and they're both here. One is This Is Your Brain on music, which is interesting. Don't usually read books about music like that, but my girlfriend bought it for me, and she said, you'll find it interesting. So it's that one. And the other one, what was the other one? I haven't finished either of them. I'm great at starting books and never finishing them. Oh, God.
Yeah, I have that problem too.
Yeah, I can't think what the other one was. I think it was a Philip K. Dick thing, because I was really into that through. I got back into replicas. I'm saying Axis over there, and all that kind of imagery, that hit dystopian imagery. And I think I started reading one of them again. Like it wasn't Android. What was it? Anyway, it was one of those. It's over there. I can't remember what it is. Police, something to do with the police. I can't think what it's called now. But anyway, let's touch it.
Actually, there is a book that I started reading that I haven't finished. And that's Fripp's book.
Oh,
the something circle, guitar circle. It's very big. It's very big. So it's not. It's not a page turner. It's basically like a lot of information that he's written over the years, and then he's compiled it into this very big book. I think it's about 800 pages. I'll just get it.
Wow, that'll be a good read too.
Yeah,
while he is.
Yeah, have you read Mick Kahn's book?
It's very big.
Oh, blimey! Yeah,
wow, that is big. Yeah,
he's got a lot to say though, that boy, hasn't he? To be fair,
he does.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He is amazing. I'm only up to page 55.
Oh my goodness!
Wow.
There's 561 pages.
Holy moly! I did see him talking.
There, Robert.
I saw him talking about collaborating with Sylvian the other day, and he spoke very fondly about.
Did he?
I'm working with him. Yeah. I was talking to a friend.
Nice.
Yeah, I thought you'd appreciate that. I'll cut that bit out. Rob, talking of replicas, I was talking to a friend yesterday who said, so obviously replicas started out as short stories, which he then turned into lyrics for the album. I don't think he ever finished the short stories. And apparently they're online. Some got leaked. There's a page.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was like, I really want to read these, see the source.
Yeah.
My friend said, oh, it's really sick. It's about this dad. His daughter gets killed by a machine in the park. And he's walking home hand in hand with his daughter, but it's just her hand. The rest of her was like torn apart. And, yeah, a bit dark. So
Gary, take a chill pill, brother. Jeez, man.
Yeah. So I don't know now. I don't know whether I want to read them or not.
Yeah, I don't think I do either. I just listen to the record and make do with that.
All right.
I don't think I've ever listened to it.
Okay.
No, fair enough.
You should. I mean, just once at least. At the time, it was what do you say about replicas, Rob?
Well, God, I was 8 when it came out. No, yeah. 9.
I was 14.
I was. What year was it? 80, 79?
79 or 78, somewhere around there.
The amazing thing about that year, he wrote and released 3 albums.
I was 24.
Yes.
24.
Yes.
Yeah, and he did it, I know we could all, in hindsight, it's a wonderful thing, but, I think everyone agrees that if he had a proper manager instead of his parents, which obviously he was the nice thing, 'cause they looked after him, there was no one siphoning off money or anything, you can trust them. But if it was a proper manager, they would have said, like, no, that's enough, wait another year, then release that, then another year, don't keep shoving them out. But he wanted to do this thing where he kept putting out records, and I don't think it did him any favors, really, because in America, albums didn't have long enough to take before the next one was out. Telecom was on top of Principal too quick, and as I say, hindsight's a wonderful thing. But if someone could have said, just take your time, take 6 months, a year out, then go back out. But he seemed to want to keep hitting everybody with it straight away, and he was young, and who am I to say? I've never been a big megastar, so who knows what it's like to be in those underpants, who knows. But there you go, that's what he did. But it's a shame. But yeah, he did do amazing work. And of course, the first album, Tubeway Army, that's an amazing piece of work too. People forget that one. I think that's great. The very first one, I think that's an awesome start to the whole thing.
Yeah, it's where he discovered the mini Moog, right?
Absolutely. Replicas almost sounds like a third album. It's progressed so quickly. Yeah. And then, as you say, the other two also. So he had to grow up very fast. But yeah, wonderful record, Replicas. I think it's amazing. Yeah. I was playing it the other day and still sounds great. Still sounds fresh. Could have been made yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, some of my favorite tracks from side B, Robert, they're instrumentals. They're my favorites. I mean, I can't really listen to Down in the Park or Our Friends Electric anymore. I've heard them so many times. Yes. The other tracks are really good.
And I've played them so many times.
I bet, yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you, Robert, I know this will never happen, but if somebody offered obviously everyone in Japan, a huge amount of money to play a gig tomorrow, do you think you could remember all the riffs?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I thought so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, it doesn't take... it comes flooding back pretty quickly, I think.
Yeah.
If you, once you're in that frame of mind, I think you just... Don't you think? I mean...
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
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 Awesome. What's your most treasured possession? Well, I think we've seen Robert's. It's either the guitar or the...
No, that's not my treasured possession. I'll have to think about this.
Okay.
Ooh.
That's a tricky one.
I know.
It really is.
My most treasured possession.
Yeah. I guess you could, the old cliche of if the house was on fire, you'd grab the cat and...
Well, she is actually it will be her.
Oh,
that's lovely.
Oh, man. I might, excuse me, I'm going to go get a tissue. I'm welling up here.
It's absolutely true, though.
Well, no, I do the same.
Lovely.
I do the same. Gigi, where's Gigi? She hasn't made an appearance, but yeah, I'd grab Gigi. All right, Rob?
I haven't got any pets, so I can't grab any pets. I don't know. I could say something sentimental from my dad or from a family thing, or is it a signed something I've got? Do you know what? I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I'd probably just run out and just save myself and think, oh, well. I really can't think of anything, but I know, let's be flippant about it. What would I take with me? I'll take my Grammy certificate. That's what I'll take.
Very nice.
I'll take my Grammy certificate and say, so I'd have nothing and I'd be penniless in the street, but I'd have to say, look, I've won this Latin Grammy, though. This is great, isn't it?
Wow.
No, I can't think of, what.
Latin Grammy for what?
Oh, fine. Look, I bought you with it. Here you go, look.
Yeah, let's see it.
This wasn't a real world, actually. This was at another studio just down the road. I got a call out of the blue, and David Rhodes was on it from Peter's band. Yeah. And he do a little bit in Japan as well. I can't remember. Talk. Yeah, he did as well, didn't he?
Yes,
that's right.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And he was on it. And Charlie Jones was on bass from Goldfrapp and Robert Plant's band. Anyway, and it was a good little band. And they said, "Have you heard of Laura Pausini?" I was like,
no. "Oh yeah,
yeah." I never had. So I was like, "Okay." Anyway, so we do the album. And
it wasn't produced by John Jacobs, was it?
Not this one. No, this was the one that was Rick Simpson.
Oh, because he did a lot of her albums.
He does a great job. I mean, they're a certain thing, obviously, but it's great what she does. She's got a great voice. I mean, in South America, she's doing stadiums. It's mental. So I did an album with her, and I got a runner-up for I don't even want to pronounce it, but anyway. So that was my runner-up certificate.
I can actually read that.
Yeah.
Can you see that?
Amazing.
Yeah.
And then
Latin pop album.
And then the year afterwards, they said, "Do you want to come back and do another one?" And we're like, "Yeah." Because the track we did was a single, and we did 2 or 3 tracks. And on this album, we did 2 or 3 tracks as well. But this one won. I remember I come back from Lorena McKinnett's tour, and it was on at 3 a.m. or whatever the time difference would have been. And I thought, I'll just see if we win this time. And I put on Facebook something like, "Oh, I'm staying up late with a glass of wine, going to see if we won." And then hers was the first one up, and it won. I went, "Oh, shit, it won." So I was straight on. So that was the winning one for the album. What did they call it? I don't know how you pronounce that.
Has de sentir.
Yeah, that's the one. So that's the winning certificate. So which has got that on. So yeah, I'm quite proud of those. But again, like anything in life, people go, "Oh, you won that." It's like, yeah, but it doesn't mean anything, really. Like life goes on. You don't suddenly have a boat or a Learjet. But it's nice to have it. They're little things ticked, little boxes ticked.
Yeah, it's recognition by your peers, right?
Yes.
Well, not by your peers, but it's recognition for something you did.
It is, and I don't know about you, Robert, but I mean, every time I've done something like this or did the gold frap thing, I try and get a platinum disc or a gold disc or silver, whatever it's done, and try and get it. And I know you've got to pay for it, but I try and go down that route. And email management, no one cares. When you're a session guy, you were in the band, so it's different. So you will have all yours, I guess. But as far as me trying to, because that went platinum, I want that on my wall. I'm pretty proud of that. It's like, again, little life events, but no one really cares. It's like you're a session guy, whatever. And it's so hard to get these things.
I didn't realize that you didn't automatically get one for playing on an album.
No, if I want to get one. Though I can't get even through the door to get these from management. It's like 250, 300 quid just to get it. Whereas if you're in the band, I think you naturally get one.
Right.
But yeah, you have to pay for it, which is bizarre. But I'd happily do it again because, just have one of those on my wall would be nice. But anyway, there you go.
Well, that's cool. You played with Goldfrapp. I love Goldfrapp.
Goldfrapp are great. They're one of my favourite bands. And do you know what? They turned out to be really nice. Alison and Will Gregory. Beautiful, absolutely lovely people. That was one of my most enjoyable sessions.
What did you play on?
It was an album called I've got all my covers. Silver Eye.
Okay, that's a good album. I like.
It's a great album. Yeah, and really I played on a few things on that. That
was the last one, wasn't it?
I think so, because now she's doing her own thing. When they're together, they've got something because they're so different. When they get
there's an edge.
It really works.
There's an edge.
No, Will brings that extra element that sometimes they sort of do this a little bit, but that's good. That makes the tension. That makes it work.
Yeah, definitely.
That's why some collabs, as we all know, just work so well.
Yeah.
On paper, it's like that's never going to work, but all of a sudden, it is gold.
No, I love them. They're one of my favorite. I mean, it's not really a band, is it? But favorite artists.
Yes.
I mean, considering current artists, I'm not really into too much current stuff, to be honest, but I am into that.
Yeah, there's not many things that I listen to, I have to be honest. A lot of things, I don't know if it's an age thing, but you kind of feel you've been through it before. You can unfortunately say it sounds like something you recognize, and it's like, oh, I don't want to be doing that because it's what my dad used to do. But now I'm turning into that.
It's true, but I know, and now you sort of realize what your parents were on about.
Absolutely, absolutely. Quantizing is a great thing, and we all practice the clicks, I know, but there's something nice about when you put on an album from the 70s and maybe even and 60s, obviously, 50s, it just breathes in a different way, and I kind of miss that, But as a session guy, all I ever work with is clicks, as you can imagine. But when we don't, and I'm actually in with the band, it's like, oh, I'm in with the band. My God, it's such a kick.
One of the main reasons for that, I think, is so that it can be remixed easily. Yeah, it's all about remixing, isn't it? And if you don't have a click, you can't
You can't do
remix it very
anything.
easily. No,
Absolutely. Yeah.
that was the problem with Sinead's first album. We did it twice because the first time we did it with Mick Glossop, and we did it all live in the studio with no click tracks.
Right.
And then the record company took it to various people to be remixed. Couldn't do it, so we had to re-record the whole album.
Wow. Yeah, it's a necessity, isn't it? Unfortunately, it's one of those evils in today's music world.
Yeah.
Like today when I was recording with Chris, he said, we've got quite a few songs to do today, and we can only do today, so it's a long day. But do a pass like that, do a pass like this. We'll take care of the rest. And it's like, okay, once you know that's the deal, that's the deal. But creatively, it's hard to sort of ignite the fire sometimes when it's later on it's just going to be like Lego. It's weird.
Yeah. So that's basically the way he's working. He pieces it together once you've done it.
Yeah. And then he says, look, just really go for it. I want you to be flamboyant on this. Give us a few rolls. Go around the kit. Just do a thing. Because we might take a snippet of that too. So, creatively, yes, then I'm still doing a thing. But it's not the same as thinking, right, there's my score. I want to get this in this take. He's asked me to do a few extra things in this section. Right, here we go. And then playing it down to the end. There's something about that creatively you can't do in taking sections. You just can't do it. You play differently, don't you? It's a different thing. Like playing to tape. Recording on tape, it's got to be right. You can't keep messing about. And I did one of those at Real World not so long ago to tape. It was like, bloody hell, are we really doing this? It was like, yeah, it's all about the performance. Get it right. Come on. That discipline, man. I loved it. It's been a long time since I've done that. So I like it. Whips you into shape.
Yeah.
It's great.
I think the modern thinking is about having options, isn't it?
Yeah.
As opposed to being locked into one performance.
Yeah.
So you were essentially, he was asking you for options, and I guess calling it Lego is a pretty good description of. And it reminds me of what Phill was saying in the last podcast about he doesn't edit with his eyes, which everyone who uses a DAW. I mean, I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of it on the track that we worked on together, Robert. I'm editing with my eyes as much as my ears. Whereas back in his day, he used a razor blade, and you had to commit to that edit. You could not faff around. You probably had one or two chances, maybe, if you fucked it up the first time. Super French, but you got to be good at your craft. I'm not saying. Obviously, Chris is great at his craft, but I think it's about options. Yeah, I think that's the takeaway. But if you were on Mastermind, what would be your specialist subject?
I think it would have to be. It would have to be one of two.
I'm kind of guessing yours, but do you want to go first, Rob? Oh, Robert.
Robert's ready, I think.
I was going to say birds. It's got to be birds, right?
I was going to say
it can't be birds because that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
that's like it has to be like birds of Costa Rica or birds of Central America or something.
Yes,
but you have to, And the other one would be the Beatles.
See,
well, I was going to say the Beatles as one of mine, actually. Yeah.
I mean, because it's if you're talking about the Beatles, you're talking about a 9-year career, basically.
Yeah.
So that's doable, But I mean, if say the Beatles and solo, that gets a bit difficult.
Oh, I couldn't do that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The Beatles, definitely.
What do you think of Now and Then?
Ooh, yeah, interesting. Philip, what do you think?
Well, so Philip Norman, the Beatles biographer, said something quite interesting, and I kind of agree with him. So he said it sounds like a song by ELO, and the reason he's saying that is because it was produced by
No, it wasn't.
Not
There
Jeff
wasn't-
Lynne, not this time, I don't think. No.
No, it was Paul McCartney
But I think Jeff
And-
Lynne
and-
was involved like 15 years ago.
Yes.
yes, but they only used like rhythm track. That was all they
Oh.
used.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Well,
They
I
didn't
still
use
agree with
anything
him.
else.
It sounds like the Yellow. No, I mean,
Well,
that's not
to
not
me.
a
It
bad
sounds
thing.
like John Lennon's solo. Sounds like something off of Double Fantasy. It's what it sounds like to me.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
it has more of an interesting arrangement than he would have had if it was on Double Fantasy.
Agreed. Yeah, I agree. And it's so hard when it's only half a song. It's not really finished.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of people who aren't fans criticizing, and I go, okay, fair enough. But you weren't going to like it anyway. So no matter what it was, those
Right.
knockers, or whatever you want to call them, they weren't going to like it anyway.
Yeah.
But on first listen, I didn't really enjoy it. I thought, where are the drums? The drums seem so distant, really. But I got used to it, and actually, yeah, I kind of like it. And like we were saying today, the verses are great. That's so John. It's such a John song. It's beautiful. It's just a shame it never got not finished properly. But there you go.
Yeah, I mean, I think partly it's because it is really a John vocal all the way through. It's nobody else is singing it like solo, So anything that was recorded back then, it would have been like a John solo song anyway, because that's basically what it was. And so it doesn't have like Free as a Bird, and that I actually think it's better than both Free as a Bird and Real Love, but they had parts where the others sang.
Yes.
Which made it more of a Beatle thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Whereas
That's what
now and then doesn't.
That's what we were saying today. Chris Hughes said that very same thing,
Yeah.
So to say that's the last thing ever is kind of not a shame, but it's kind of like, well, that's not what I would have expected, but it is what it is. I actually quite like the video. I thought it was quite sweet.
I think the videos, I think you need to listen to it with the video. Really,
Agreed.
to get anything Beatley out of it, because a lot of the Beatles was the humor, I mean, that was a key element to them as a band, really. And
Absolutely.
So it has that in it. And I think that's the best thing about it, to be honest.
Agreed. Yeah,
me too. Yeah,
I mean, I cried at the end. It was in a session, and they, I can't think where it was anyway, but I was at a session and I was waiting for the engineer to stop fiddling back with stuff. And I watched it with my headphones on, and I got to the end, and when they bow and they disappear, and it was like, oh my God, like that's such a profound thing, because it's like, we're gone now. And it's like, you never think they're gone. They're all, well, they never will, I know, but that just seemed like such an official thing of poof, we're gone. And it's just like, oh man, really? Like, oh, don't do that to me. Like, I found it very emotional. And I've watched a lot of first reactions on YouTube, which I guess some people are going to play up to that. But some of them seem quite authentic. And nearly everybody were going, as they were getting younger towards the end, they go, no, don't do that. Don't do that. No, don't. And at the end, when and everyone said the same as me, like, just don't stop. Stop doing this to me. You're killing me. But yeah. Well, did you, by the way, I know we shouldn't talk about the Beatles too much, I guess, but has anyone heard the Revolver? I mean, I've got the box set over there. I bought it.
Yeah.
What did you think of the Revolver stuff? Did you like it, or?
I liked some of it, and some of it doesn't quite work.
Yeah.
It's the same with all of those, remixed things. The separation's cool. I mean, the new Red and Blue albums have been released, and so there's quite a lot of stuff that's been remixed for those.
Okay.
I was really looking forward to listening to Hey Bulldog, because that was a track I was particularly fond of. Bit disappointed with it.
No.
Sounds kind of thin.
Does it?
The guitars sound thin, They don't have power to them. But some of them sound good. And it's the same with the Revolver box. I really do like And Your Bird Can Sing, though. That sounds fantastic.
It does. The snare drum Yeah, that sounds amazing. The guitars are popping, but they ruined it. Well, I shouldn't say ruined, but their version of She Said, She Said, without all that compression drums, it's not as exciting anymore. It's not gnarly and like, you can't do that to those songs. They need to be like that. So I agree. Some of it was good, some of it wasn't.
Okay, I'll have to check those out.
Yeah, check it out. Yeah.
Well, I don't know about you, but I think it's their best album. So.
Me too. I said to Chris today, I said, and he was saying, "Oh, I sometimes have a mood where it's this and that." I said, "You know what? I do too, but no, I never surpass it with anything else. Revolver will always be my favorite Beatles album, and if there's somebody who's not into them, I say, listen to that. They go, what about Pepper? I go, yeah, that's great too, obviously, but listen to this because it's the last time they were a proper rock and roll band in a way, and they're still playing live at this point, and you just hear all the guitars that all Britpop would be copying for the next 30, 40 years, and the drum sound and the image. It's all there in a like a little template, like a blueprint, for bands to run. Of course, there's Kinks in there as well, I know, with Blur and stuff like that. But that sort of cast and all these bands and all that, if you were looking at that 90s period, it was all Revolver, basically, without a doubt. And I'm proud of that as a Beatle fan. I think, that's always going to look good. Their image was good. Everything was just so hip. Brilliant record. And it's so eclectic. Eclectic.
So eclectic.
Love it. Okay.
The Motown. It's incredible, man. It's like... Anyway, don't get me started.
No, that's a great observation about 90s Britpop is basically Revolver. I love that.
Revolver.
Yeah.
The images as well. All the images, the hair, the guitars, the drum kits, everything was a rip. The shirts. I mean, there's so much. Yeah. Not just music, Anyway.
Yeah.
With a little bit of Kinks, like you said, maybe The Who as well. But
of course. Of course.
All right, gentlemen, it's been a blast, but I'll save all my other questions for hopefully take two.
The real thing.
Yeah, maybe we can put this out as a bonus. I will edit it, of course, and edit me. I noticed in the first episode I said "wow" a lot, and then I noticed that Rob says "wow" a lot, and I was wowing with you. So I'm gonna have to fix that as well. I'm gonna have to take some de-wowing pills or something.
What do I say a lot?
I know every word is golden, Mr. Dean. I mean, every word is gold. I should be paying you to be on this, but so thank you for doing this for free. You are, right?
You'll get an invoice.
I haven't said anything.